either die from the elements or starvation weeks after if the cataclysm or the convulsions after the cataclysm don't get them.
Well, exactly, because excuse me.
No, no.
I think you're right, because I think the one thing that they are potentially counting on, if you will, is that idea that if they make things so bad again that either possibly a cataclysm, but even man-made, so to speak,
Yeah,
disaster, that people don't know what to do with themselves after that point, meaning that again they're going to be incredibly dependent on where the food is going to be, and who's not going to go along with that? If you have nothing to eat, wait a week, and see how you react to what you go along with, so to speak, or whatever. It might be some kind of situation where they're like, okay, let's go. We need to go underground now. Everyone tag along. Here we got the food, the military's there, whatever. And we can end up in some really weird, again going back to some of the sci-fi themes, of course, but like humanity going underground, and just disappearing off the face of the earth, and the elite can live happy on the surface, as it were, and living good lives, as it were, but while we're down on the some underground weird shit city somewhere, and living a horrible life there. I don't know.
I have no doubt that they will be using food as a weapon at some point. I mean, they already are. I mean, you want to think about all the garbage that they stick in there, the aspartame, the pesticides, the GMO stuff, and anything and everything else when it comes to preservatives and the food colorings and what have you. But yeah, I think a point will come when they will use food as a weapon and say, okay, either come along with us or you're not going to eat.
And it's in some of their own words, in regards to food being used as a weapon, and all that stuff. So definitely they know the score. They know what
Yeah,
they need to do in order to control people on a wide scale. So well, I mean, all of this stuff is worth to keep in mind, as it were, as we kind of begin to wrap up 2008, I guess, and move into 2009, and we'll see what the next year will bring. And many people are talking about total collapse of the financial system, and that might happen. And we'll see what happens. And yet at the same time, I feel also that all the scaremongering about the stuff is also part of the
yeah,
game. Again, going back to that idea that we shouldn't also be dragged along in their apocalyptic schemes, as it were, and we should realize that it's very much about perception, because if people are very much afraid that the system will collapse, it probably most will. And so we need to think twice about that idea. Is it really that bad, or is this all about controlling perception? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. And it's, I mean, for us who have done the research and we know what the basic agenda is, it's kind of like we see this car coming down the road, and so a lot of people don't know what's going on, so they're just crossing the street, and some of them going to get hit, some of them won't.
Mm.
But for us who've done the research and know the agenda and know the end goal that they're seeking for and all these types of things, it would be idiotic for us to get hit by this truck coming down the road when we know what's happening.
Mm. Yeah.
So we should have that preparation and take the information that we have and use it to build from, use it to move from. Uh, but also, like the point you were making, is that we shouldn't get all tied up into fearing what some future is going to be. As far as the scaring and all that type of business. So it's going to be this great big thing, and you're not going to move because all it does is it paralyzes you.
Yes.
And maybe all of that's true, but to let it eat you up and to mesmerize you and to get you all scared and to think like I can't move nowhere, I can't do this, I can't go there, and living under this constant state of emotional stress and anxiety about it, it just doesn't help. It doesn't help you and it doesn't help anybody else.
And if
So
we start to cut you off there, but I just want to squeeze in that if we also take into account, the spiritual lessons that are involved, and also even if we want to go that far into the quantum weirdness of the wonderful space that we're in right now, then we know that what we focus on and pay attention to, that becomes manifest in that sense, meaning that all that this is generating is a slave type mentality, a poverty type of consciousness, and I think that we can also move away from that in that sense and not become so dependent upon the current system, the current paradigm. And I think that will render for us some really wonderful situations where we can begin to move away from their structure and begin to, in that sense, I guess, create our own reality or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's capable of doing whatever they want to put their minds to. So to be able to get into that positive sense, because like I said earlier about there's that poker's bluff kind of thing going on. That's their agenda. That's their plan. That's where they like to go. But it doesn't mean that it's going to really go that way because tomorrow hasn't come yet.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And we need to create the tomorrow that we want to see. We need to
right.
Take back that and take the power back into our hands and say that it doesn't matter whatever they do or whatever their move is, because they're not in control in that sense. They believe they are, and they wish that they were. Obviously, that's what we're seeing here every single day playing out in the news and the geopolitics of what's going on in the world. We're witnessing their attempts to control every aspect of our lives, but we are not.